Hello and welcome back. This is, as promised, a follow-on video to the one I've done where I've been camping. This is a new car reveal. It is something quite special. A lot of you, if you aren't into this thing, you might just disregard it and say, well, that's not my thing. I'm into four-wheel drives. I like the Jeep better. I like a seven-seater. Everybody's got their own preference for a car. But there's one particular piece of this car which is, in my opinion, one of the most legendary diesel engines ever made to date. Much better than all the new stuff that's been made now. And you all have heard of it. Straight away, I'm going to give up a bit of a clue now. It's the legendary 1900 PD. Volkswagen, VAG, Volkswagen, Audi, Skoda, Seat, all used it. The 1.9 TDI PD. But of course, those engines come in quite a few varieties, ranging from, I think, maybe a 90 or 100 brake, the PD 100, the 115, the AGM, they did the 130, and then they did the 150. And the 150 was always the one to have, but as they got older and as they got more kind of worn out, so to speak, when bearing in mind worn out for these engines is touching 300,000 mile, they did tend to wear the cams a little bit more. But nowadays, like all the new diesel engines, whether or not you get the one, for example, this is, say the range from 100 brake horsepower up to 150 brake horsepower. And like I said, they'll do the 100, a 130, for example, and a 150. The engines come in standard form from the factory, and a little bit extra, the lot of money extra you pay for the higher output engines. All they do is just stick a map on in the factory, and that's it. But back in the day, when these were being made, you got a lot of difference. For example, ranging from the basic 100 brake horsepower PD, you'd only get a 5-speed gearbox. It would be sort of like a cast crank on them, and that would be like a pretty crude small flow intake manifold, a small turbo. Then you would go up to the 115s. They were actually, believe it or not, the first PD engines that were ever made. They had a different compression ratio, and they went on, basically they had like a different turbo, a different manifold. But then the 130s were known as probably the best one of the bunch for reliability, because they had basically a smaller turbo and a little, what I class as a ARL box intercooler, but they had all the big pipe work at the back of the engine. They did away with all of the old school cast intake manifolds, and they went on with these big bore pipes. They were just all, so basically the 130s were upgraded quite a lot, but then they did the fruity 150 with the ARL, which was the one to have, but you've got to be careful when you buy them that they're being looked after, and preferably low mileage, which this car is, trust us. But with the 150s, there was a lot of development, a lot of development in it. You might have just seen the car in the background there. I'm trying to get the better light behind us. A lot more development, varying from a much bigger turbo. Yes, they didn't quite pick up as quick as the smaller turbos when remapped, but when they do, they don't half push you back in the seat. So they've got a much bigger turbo. They've got a front-mounted intercooler, a full-size intercooler, the size of the standard radiator, rather than a little square down in the right-hand bumper. You get much bigger injectors. There will be other things here, bigger intake pipe networks, and obviously there's all sorts of stuff like I believe, don't quote us on this is just what I've heard over the years, an actual forged crank, as well as I think some kind of oil spray jets which spray underneath the piston crowns to keep it cool, along with quite a lot of other, because a lot of people think they can get a PD 100 or a PD 115 and remap it up to have the same power as the 150s, but really there's a hell of a lot more difference between a 150 ARL and a 100 brake horsepower PD. I'm sure everything from the car, definitely the cams, the injectors, the head bolts I hear people talking about. The 150s much have a better head bolt. Anyways, much yap about the PD engines, but I think everybody will respect the word. I will say this one, reverting to diesels at least anyways, it pulls like a train. That phrase is owned by the 1900 PD. They really were the first ever engine what really opened people's eyes up to what diesels could do. I think they started out at about in the year 2000, WV reg. That's about when the first PDs come out, but people couldn't believe it. They were eating petrols, high performance petrol engines. These PDs, when tuned up, are the high end ones, absolutely destroy. And like this version of this car also has the 1.8 turbo, the 5 valve. They're capable of 225 brake and BAM format, BAM. Yeah, you can get good power out of them, but these diesels, the torque is just unbelievable even in standard form, let alone the power you can get out of these things, let alone the 50-60 mile per gallon. plus in the cheap tax. So, enough yap. What have I bought? There you go. Probably one of the best looking cars that has been around for a while, what VAG have done. VAG, just to go through that again, Volkswagen, Audi, Skoda, Seat. They're all the same company. This is the Leon, and this is based on the Golf Mark IV, the Octavia, sort of, that's got a bigger back end, the Audi A3. That's what this is. But I think you can much appreciate this is a far better looking car than the Mark IV Golf. I think it's becoming very boring looking and it hasn't gone with the times, but the back end of these are lovely. Absolutely wonderful looking cars. I had one of these as I think my third or fourth car ever back in the day when I was 17, 18, but mine was the 1.8, 180 brake horsepower turbocharged petrol unit, and I must say I was pretty much disappointed with them. I've had a few of those engines since, and I don't know, they seem very problematic and not very much torque, but I don't know, maybe I've just not had a proper tuned up one. But what I have had in my time is a lot of the PDs. Onto this car though, why it's rare. This is what you call a Cupra, a Seat Leon Cupra, but they did also a Cupra R. The Cupra R had a standard big Brembo brakes on the front, vented rear discs, and what the diesel version of the Cupra R came with was the 150. Hence, this is quite rare because it's got the full red TDI on there. As you can see, Seat Cupra. What you would always tend to find is the Cupra, what this is, and then in the last few years of their life, I think after this was one of the very last from about an 04 to an 06, they introduced the FR, which took over kind of the Cupra. So what I found is most of the FRs and most of the Cupras come as standard with the 130 TDI PD, which would be the, I don't know what way they do it, but like 2 red letters in a silver one. Very rare to find it on this year. Many, don't get us wrong, the experts will say, yeah, I've had a one or whatever. I'm not saying they don't exist, but I'm saying it's very, very rare to get a standard Cupra, but with the 150 ARL from the factory. So this basically is probably, it's the same as the Cupra R. Fair enough, the brakes won't be as good, but Cupra Rs are silly money. But anyways, what I'm going to tell you now is going to top the whole lot of, regardless of whatever the Cupra R is or isn't, and the petrols are or whatever. Have a guess at the mileage. I personally couldn't believe it myself. 1900 car, coming up 20-year-old. These diesels put the miles away. I've been looking, I could only find one exact match to this on the whole of eBay, a red one with 148,000 mile on. I can't find a one on Auto Trader. I can't find a one on Marketplace. Not a 150 Cupra. But by God, what you won't find, more to the point of, never mind a version like this, is to find a one with this mileage on. Is that zooming in? 50,000 miles. But when I test drove this car, it only had 49,000 miles. Like I've said, this engine was fitted in everything, from the Ford Galaxy to the Alhambra, to the Chiron, to the Volkswagen Transporter vans, everything. Skoda Octavias, Passats, A4s, A3s, Polos, Ibizas, you name it. Loads and loads and loads of cars this engine was put in. And I can't find many, if any, PD engines with 50,000 miles. That is something special to have a Cupra, for a start the better looking of the bunch, in my opinion at least anyway. The 150, only 50,000 miles. Not found another one like it. And it's 100%, no, 99.9% original, bar one item. The wheels. I personally would prefer the original Cupra wheels on, but these are replica Golf R32 wheels. I think they're 18s. But every single person I've showed pictures of the car have went, what's your problem? I think I quite like them, they suit the car. And I'm sort of beginning to grow that way a little bit with it now. I'm kind of going with it a bit. Because bearing in mind, I've only just got back from my holidays, put the caravan on the drive. This is the first time I've actually been out in the car. Just up the road here to do this video. What I have got it booked in for is these front tyres are not very nice at all. And they're quite worn on the inner edge. I'm getting straight away 2 new front tyres on before I even use it, because I think I've got a long drive to do on Saturday in it, because I'm going to a car show. The back ones are a bit cracked and perished, but they're nowhere near as bad as the fronts. So I'm going to get the front tyres on. The back ones are left to wait for now, and then I'll decide what I'm doing with the wheels. If I'm going to keep them, I might get another 2 matching back tyres and then get them reconditioned at hyper coatings, what you've just seen us have done on the Jeep. So we'll have a quick look around it. It is absolutely immaculate. We all know how bad these vags rust on the wings. Can you see any? Nope. That's the only bit of attention I need to give it here. Rear arches, nothing. It's got the full original exhaust, which in fairness the chrome tips need a bit of a clean up. None whatsoever here, which I most certainly will be pulling this plastic back and getting some wax oil into there, and on the front ones getting the plastic pulled down and the sponge pulled out. Absolutely none. The interior, I've just been given a bit of a basic hoover, is lovely. Totally original, even has the original cassette player, which before anybody tells us to upgrade it, no, it's staying 100% standard. Like I've said, we'll see about these wheels. They might just be winter wheels for us, but I would like a set of period correct Cupra. And even better on this car, every single item has been etched with the reg. All the lights, all the windows. And there's a story behind this car, which I'll get into, but my OCD is killing me with these wipers. These Leons and Mark IV Golfs, the passenger's wiper on them is supposed to be the shape of a banana, a curved, just a normal metal wiper with a curve, but the driver's one has a spoiler. Specific set of Bosch wipers made just for these. They're on order, and they're getting fitted straight away, because otherwise the wiper catches the scuttle, because it's meant to have a curve in. Just little things, I am pathetic like that, I'm really sad, but things like that irritate the hell out of me. So, on to even the front, all the lights, everything have got, can you see that? The reg on them. But the story behind this car is really fascinating. It's nice to see how well it's been cared for. Basically, the guy who I bought the van off, the Vivaro, this was his car. And when I went to view it, I was took away by it, and I think he knew I was. And I said to him, I says, please, whatever you do, because he was wanting to sell it, because he was going to sell this in the van to pay for a smaller van to what he had. That's what he wanted. I said, give me first chance of that, please. I said, when you sell it, that's definitely right up my street. A little bit more money than I want to spend normally, but a PD 150, especially in a Cupra, unheard of. Can't find one. You guys have a look and try. Do me a favour, if you can be bothered. Have a little search for any vehicle with a PD engine in. Doesn't even have to be a 150. And see if you can find something with less miles. I'm convinced there won't be. And if there is, it'll be crazy money. Or it'll be some flipping basic spec Polo or something like that. Which isn't really that interesting in my opinion. But I would still have it for that engine. But yeah, basically, I want to get this car pretty much perfect. So there's a few issues with it. Like I said, the guy brought it to me garage. And all was good. I was just about to buy it off him, and I put it up on the ramp, and there's a few concerns, which basically the guy bought it off his neighbour, who I bought the van off. He got this car off his next door neighbour. There's a receipt there from when the car was less than a few months old, being delivered by a company down in London, and the reg GV, that is the Kent area, London area. It was professionally remapped. I think it's running about 200 brake horsepower. There's an invoice for it. Put a Revo remap straight away. It absolutely pulls, believe me. And this guy nurtured it. Every single weekend he was out with a toothbrush, cleaning it, getting everything done that it needed. The service history, which I'll have to show on a separate video, is absolutely unbelievable. A couple of years had passed and it had only done 1,000 miles. And still on them services, it had a full service, even if it had only done 1,000 miles. So it's not only a 50,000 mile PD engine, which are good to start with, it's got absolutely impeccable service history. Unbelievable. But yeah, judging by all that, I thought things would be all good. So we'll put it up on the ramp, and the front tyres were knackered for a start, and the back ones quite badly perished. I wasn't expecting to get a blow straight away with 4 tyres. And then I took it up and had a look, and the sump was leaking. It is very common on these. An aluminium sump, and they're quite easily cross-thread, and somebody had been on with it and cross-threaded it, and by the looks of it they had tried some kind of putty on it, and then they've eventually put some kind of aftermarket oversized thing in, which I am not even going to touch the thing, because if you touch it, it'll strip and start leaking in the car. It'll be stuck on a lift. So maybe a new sump is on the horizon, or I'll push me luck and take it off, but make sure I've got a sump ready there to replace. Can't really be asked to be getting into that either straight away, buying a car more than I normally like to spend. But it didn't deter us, as the guy had owned the car for a year since his neighbour sold him it, and there wasn't pools of oil on his, there was an odd little drip, but not like, it's not pouring out. The car's perfectly usable. I'm just going to have to put a tray underneath. So that was that. The back brake shields on the back discs are falling to bits, but I'll get to that in the end. But the most alarming thing was I seen a little bit of pink residue up next to the water pump, and then I looked up, and the timing belt casing, the centre one where the engine mount goes on, was smashed. And there was a hole like that where you could see the cam belt, and I pointed to the lad, I says, "Seen that hole?" I said, "If a stone or something gets into there, it's good night." And you guys tell me, if that engine got a stone in there and smashed itself to bits, where would you find another 50,000 mile PD engine? Anywhere. You wouldn't. So that needs to be absolutely shit hot. Can't be driving it round, where I'm going to have to, unfortunately, drive it to Middlesbrough and back on Saturday for the car show. But I've got no other choice, really. He's used it for a year and it's been fine. But anyways, the water pump was leaking, or looked like it had been leaking, and this carry on with the hole in the belt thing. And I said, "Well, has it been done?" He was like, "Oh yeah." He says the guy was unbelievable with everything, which the service history really does back up. But what got skipped at the local garage he used was the timing belt on the miles. Yeah, it only done 50,000, but I think they're every 6 years. So it had more than overdone its time. So they were like, "Shit, right, we'll get it done." So there's an invoice there and everything for the cam belt kit. Last year, I think it was only done 6,000 mile ago or something. And I'm like, that's not good crack, that, like, on a 50,000 mile vehicle, for somebody who's been taking it for all them years, to smash a timing belt case, leave a hole that big, and nothing can fly up in there. It is buried where the engine mount is on the side of the engine. They had broke it and just put it back together and left it, which I thought's a bit shit. And why the water pump was leaking, I don't know either. Until you get in there, we don't know. So I just thought, right, shite with it. On to Volkswagen. Right, I'll refer this to Volkswagen. It's what you call TPS. It's a trade parts, genuine parts, but it's for the Volkswagen Audi Group VAG. So if I keep referring to Volkswagen or Audi, just ignore us. So I've been on to TPS and I've ordered a genuine timing belt kit and water pump, the piece of the timing case that's broken, any relevant bolts that were there, I've ordered them. I've also ordered 5 litres of the correct PD oil, which is essential with these. I've got a full service kit at the garage. Oil, air, fuel, pollen. I've also got a upgraded dog bone mount with a poly bush in it, which I had lying around from years ago. An auxiliary belt when that gets done. Those back shields, the shields for the back brake discs, that'll come at a later date because you've got to take all the hub off and everything to get to them. But they'll be getting done, and I've got that Landguard stuff to spray underneath. I've got a whole list of things I want to do to it. It'll be over different periods of time. But it will all be getting done. But the main thing is, tomorrow when these parts are ordered in, I want these parts in. I haven't even got time at the garage. With my dad being off for 2 weeks, we're back this week. This is Monday. We're back this week as normal. Then I'm off next week again because we're going away in the caravan. I ain't got time, and I don't want to be running around with it with a hole in the timing case. So I'm just going to find, as soon as I deliver it tomorrow, I'm just going to find somewhere, one of my local garages that I recommend to use, and just get them to fit the parts. And they're always happy to fit genuine parts. It's never an issue. And get that done ASAP. But there's other stuff on the order that I've got. I've got, like I said, them back shields, time belt kit, water pump, all the cover that's broken, all the relevant stuff that we need. And once that's done, we can get on with the fun stuff, which I want to do. Like I've said, the mats in it, I'll go around. They're genuine mats, but they're proper worn out, and I hate this material. There you go, Leon, but they're red, and there's not really any red on the car, and there's the hole starting. I'm not going to go genuine. I'm just going to get the specific fit ones you've seen in the Jeep, rubber mats to go in. Some Team Hecko wind deflectors. Oh, that's the other thing. the gearboxes on these at higher mileage can be problematic. I'm just getting it's just cost us 50 quid for 3 litres of the proper genuine gear oil, because I'll be doing a gear oil change on it. But yeah, there's loads of little bits and bobs I want to do, but the timing belt thing is the main one, and I'll just have to assess this leak on the sump, because I'm not really too chuffed about it to take a sump off. Unless it starts getting worse, the leak, it'll just have to be something that gets monitored. But yeah, we'll just have a quick look in the interior. It's starting to get a bit. I'll do a better video, but as you can see, bar little bits of mud, it is absolutely immaculate in here. We'll start at the back. Not a mark, nothing. The reason I'm doing this video now is when I get home, I'm going to put a cover on the back seats, put the child seats on, because I don't want to ruin what's underneath these, like on these seats with the. Unfortunately, you all might cry here. Oh my god! Wow, I didn't even know that was there. He must have left that there. What's he called, Richard? That's a nice little surprise, mate. Just in case you're watching this video, original Seat Cupra handbook. Oh man, I wish he had told us he put this in. I think he's just done this as a little surprise. But yeah, that's the Cupra R with the big Brembos on. I bet you there can't be many of these books lying around. Wow. Yeah, that's it there. They're the alloys. What should be on this car? Tell us, do you think I should leave what's on or try and get a set of them and get them done? Oh, that is absolutely fantastic. All the colours. The specs, there's the, I don't know why you want the 14, but there's a 20 valve turbo, the full TDI, it's an old TDI. Yeah, there you go there, the TDI. 130 and 150. Great. Absolutely great. All the specs, I'm going to sit and have a good read of them. Anyways, back in the boot. Perfect in the back there, spare wheel. All the impact, what you call it, like the stickers and stuff. And this car has only had 2 owners. But like I've said, really, it got passed from the neighbour to Richard, who I bought it off. So as far as I'm concerned, really, it's only had like 1, really. And the guy was very sentimental, very, like, kind of specific about this car. But the service history is at home, but it is on another level, believe me. Fantastic. There's not a single mark on it. The only issue is what you've already seen is that little thing, that the sill cover down there. The under tray is missing. I need to speak to Richard about getting that to see if anything can be salvaged from it. That did come off. It's not a bad thing because it sometimes rots the subframes out on them at 2 moments. Oh, there's that nasty mark there. I have already bought a stone chip for that touch-up pen, but as you can see, totally original. No, there'll be no stupid K&Ns going on it or nothing like that, but it is just absolutely spotless. When you have a real look down there, like on the aircon pump and stuff, you can just see how original everything is on it. It's fantastic. Slam panel, no rust, nothing. It's just on another level, this thing. And believe me, I might eat me hat if someone finds another, but I don't think you'll find another. I'm not even going to be so specific to a Leon. I don't even think you'll find better in it, even a flipping another car, like an Octavia, A3, Golf, whatever. Have a look and see if you can, I'm just going to pull the door shut, and see if you can find another. I would love to see if there was one and how much it costs. But around the interior, air conditioning works, ice cold, no marks, no stupid aftermarket CD players, cup holder working lovely. Pleased to see airbag off and on for when I've got my son in the front. 6 disc changer, that was an optional extra. And they weren't massively spec these. I want to try and see how much of a true cruise control is on these. It would be nice to get that. Traction control, fuel release. The only thing I'm not keen on, no armrest. You can get them fitted, maybe something at a later date. I was considering leather seats, but I want to leave this car completely as original as possible, so these seats are immaculate, they'll be staying. But yeah, everything on it is just working perfectly. There's no warning lights clearly, where there are because it's not started. It's got the little trip computer on that, which I'm not keen on, because if you want to know the outside temperature, you've got to have the time off, so you don't know what time it is. It's a bit of a stupid idea, but they've been like that for years. That's just how they were. But that mileage, man, that is just something else. Absolutely something else. I'm just looking around here. I'm not sure if the previous owner has done this, but I think it's probably the original owner. It might not have been. I apologise if it isn't, but all the little areas where things scratch around as like properly cut like stuff, even in the ashtray. Down here, I think there's somewhere down there is the same, yeah. So just little things like that. When you look around the light switch, no chunks or marks on it. The indicator stalk, perfect. The steering wheel, it really is a genuine 50,000 mile vehicle, this one. Handbrake. So yeah, and it drives brilliant. I love these engines. Honestly, in 6th gear, even labouring at 50 mile an hour, it pulls like you're in 3rd. And that's what I love about these. Absolutely love these engines. What I think my 2nd or 3rd car was a Bora with a early superchipped engine, the 115. And that blew my mind how powerful that thing was. It was unbelievable. So anyways, leaving it here. I've gone on long enough. I hope you like it. Please leave your comments. I would like to hear what you think about it. Yes, I know the Jeep's gone, but it's gone to a good home. I'm over the moon that Chris has got that. Please, if you like it, hit the like. It all helps. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe. And if you have a look on my Facebook page, I'll upload a few pictures of the paperwork. I'll have to see if it's got anybody's name or address on. But it's unbelievable, some of the history with this car. It really is. But I'll leave that there. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.